Hi again, Adam here, ingvid.com. I have another lesson for you today. This is actually a request by Fereser. I hope I'm saying it right. Sorry about that. It was in the comments section of ingvid.com. Please leave questions and comments and requests, and we'll do our best to get them for you. So the request was the difference between all and whole. Now, the reason I also chose this lesson is because this is a very common mistake that students make. They mix these two up all the time. They have very specific roles and situations. We're going to look at them today. The first and most important thing to remember about all versus whole is where to put the definite article the. So it's always all, the, whatever you're talking about, the whole, whatever you're talking about. So always the after all, the before whole. Now, they sound a little bit similar, all whole, but not, right? So be careful about pronunciation. Sometimes people might think you're mixing them up just because of pronunciation. All whole. Make sure you get that H sound and the O sound together. Now, what's the difference between all and whole? All, you're talking about everything. Whatever it is you're talking about all of it, basically. Everything. One, etc. When you're talking about whole, you're talking about a complete something, a complete package, a complete group, a complete container of something, right? Whatever it is you're talking about, it has to be complete, right? It has pieces inside, and then the whole is the complete collection of whatever it is you're talking about. Whereas all is just everything that's involved with that noun, etc. So I'm going to give you a very quick example. Your friend went on a trip out of town. He had to take the bus for 2 hours to his friend's house in Montreal, let's say. He comes back, you ask him, how was the trip? And he goes, oh my God, there was a baby on the bus and the baby cried all the time. But if he said the baby cried the whole time, do you think it's a different meaning? Usually people will understand the same thing, but technically all the time doesn't mean 2 hours crying. It means cried, stopped, cried, stopped, cried, stopped. It seemed like he was crying throughout the trip, okay? But if somebody said the baby cried the whole time, I understand 2 hours, baby crying, wah, wah, wah. 2 hours could drive a person crazy. All the time, he cried enough times that it seemed like a long time. The whole time means for 2 hours, straight, non-stop, okay? So that's a big difference between all and whole, okay? The whole time, I'm talking about the specific duration, the complete journey, 2 hours. All the time, always. Always crying, stopping, always crying, stopping, crying, stopping, crying, stopping. Not very much fun. But I studied all day. I have a test tomorrow. I studied all day. I studied the whole day. In this case, I would understand the exact same thing as well. You can switch these two. But all day means I studied, I took a break, I studied. I didn't do anything else. Only studied today. But I studied the whole day means I sat at my desk and I studied. I didn't stop. So that's one of the big differences between all and whole. Whole, when you're talking about time, non-stop, continuous. All means in that day many times, and that's basically that's the one activity that you did. Okay? So this is one aspect of all and whole. The and duration, like always, and the complete time of whatever it is you're talking about. We're going to look at a couple other differences that are very important that you need to keep in mind. Okay, so now we're going to look at a few other differences. They're sometimes very small, but important. So let's look at the two examples here first. All my friends came. My whole group of friends came. What do you notice first about the differences between these two? One, the possessive adjective, my, his, your, etc., with all comes after all, comes before whole. My whole group of friends came. So I can say all my friends, all individual friends, right? But remember what I said about whole. Whole means something complete, a complete package of something. So I have group of friends came. The meaning is more or less the same, okay? But here I talk about the group, here I talk about the individuals. Very important to remember, but most important, possessive, after all, before whole, okay? That's one. Let's look at another thing. Sometimes you can interchange the two words. The sentence looks exactly the same, but the meaning is very different, okay? All cities were destroyed. So let's say, for example, there was an earthquake or a volcano eruption in Hawaii, okay? In Hawaii, there are many cities. Volcano erupted, lava flowed, earth shook, etc. All cities were destroyed. But if I say whole cities were destroyed, the meaning is very different. Here, all cities were destroyed means no more cities. Every city destroyed. But if I say whole cities, it means some cities were completely destroyed. Okay? Let's put a marker on myself, sorry. Whole cities destroyed means one city completely destroyed. But there are other cities that are okay. This one, no more cities. All flat, all covered in lava. Okay, so that's another thing. With all, when you're talking about non-countable nouns, money, water, air, sugar, milk, non-countable nouns, you're usually going to use all. You're not going to say whole the money, because it doesn't make any sense, because it's not a complete thing. It's a singular, non-countable. All the money was stolen. All the water was drunk or spilt or whatever the thing is. And you're usually going to use whole with a singular countable noun. You prefer to use whole than all, but depends on the situation. Now, some people are going to ask me in the comment section, but now they won't because I'll give you the answer right now. Why don't I say all of my friends? Why don't I say it? Because I don't need to, okay? This is extra word. You don't need to use it. The only time you need to use all of is with an object pronoun. All of them, all of it, all of us, all of whom, with a clause, etc. Otherwise, you just don't need of. It's a useless word. It doesn't help. It doesn't do anything. If I say the whole of, it's also the exact same. I don't need to use it. It means the complete package. So that's another difference. The last one, and this is very, very important, especially for those of you who are going to be taking tests, and grammar is important. All students need to come to class early tomorrow. The whole class needs to come early tomorrow. Can you see the difference? Main thing to remember, with all and plural, you have the matching verb. Students need. Remember, with whole, you have a complete package, one package. The whole class needs to. Singular with the S, plural without the S. Okay? So now you see all the differences between all and whole. And I know that students are going to tell me, oh, I studied the whole time, or I study whole the time. That's what I hear often. I study whole the time, but I don't improve. Now you will improve, I hope anyway. Go to ingvid.com, take the quiz, practice a little bit more. If you have any questions or comments, write them in the comments. Also, check out my video on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. It would be very nice of you. And I will see you again very soon. Thanks.